Hi guys, my name is Isa and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about why being rejected by someone is not as big as we think it is. If you haven't checked out my last week's episode, I definitely encourage you. This is a continuation. It is a series I'm doing over getting over a situationship. Let's get started. By the way, I am recording this immediately after recording the previous episode, but I had a dance break in the middle, so I feel energetic. I feel ready for this episode. In today's episode, I really want to focus on rejection, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about being rejected by this one person you had a situationship with. It can work with any time you've been rejected, okay? Just keep that in mind. When I'm dealing with limiting beliefs, I really like to make it sound as ridiculous as possible, just so I can see it doesn't make sense for me to have this belief. So when you think about this person decided that I wasn't valuable and therefore rejected me, because that's what we all think. When we get rejected, we see ourselves as less valuable because this person didn't want us. Let's make that statement sound ridiculous. Now, for this statement to truly be true, this would mean that this person held me. This person held me in his arms and he did a full scan over my value. And he scanned me up and down to see my value. How did he do that? I don't know. I was never taught to scan someone's value, but somehow he knows how to do it. Somehow every single guy I talk to knows how to scan my value and dictate how much value I have. So he scanned me and he dictated the value that I had, and he decided she's not valuable. I'm gonna reject her. And you know what actually happened? He did help me. I was in his arms. But I don't think he was able to look at my value as a person. And why do I feel confident saying that? That's because I have never been able to look at someone and see their full value as a person. I have never been able to do that. Because when you look at someone, you look at them from your own perspective. You look at them with this person is valuable to me, and this person is valuable because of the experiences I've had with this person. This person is valuable because they settle the right things, because they know how to regulate me, they know how to calm me down, because whatever, I've shared things with this person. But this person is valuable because you are connected with this person. That's why when you look at someone, you think this is someone important in my life. And that's why when you look at someone you don't know, you don't really think they are important in my life. But in the same way, that one person who you see as unimportant, they have someone else who sees them as really important. You can only look at people based on your own perspective, and that perspective is very limited because it is limited to yourself. I can see the value in my mom because she's my mom. Another person might not see her as valuable because she's not their mom, but she's my mom, so she's very valuable for me. It is ridiculous to think that a guy that I'm talking to for just like a couple weeks was able to hold me and look at my value as a whole person without knowing much about me, or without knowing all the information that is required to know from someone before making a judgment. So thinking that he held me in his arms and he saw all my value as a person makes no sense. Am I not more than just his perspective? Am I not more than just my ex's perspective? I am so much more. I exist outside of their perspective. Even if nobody is thinking about me in this right moment, I'm existing, okay? So we are so much more than what someone thinks of us. And it's so crazy to think that what they think of us defines us, because they don't even know us as much as we know ourselves. So it makes more sense for us to define who we are instead of other people defining who we are. And assuming that he was able to see my value, that also means that he saw my value as an instruction. And based on the value that he saw, based on the instruction that he received, he proceeded to reject me or accept me. Nothing is that mechanical. I don't think I've ever had an interaction like that where I see someone and I see in my brain, this person is not valuable, reject them. I've never had that experience, and I don't think I ever will, because people don't experience life like that. People don't go around assessing people based on their value and thinking, I'm gonna reject them, I'm going to accept them. That sounds very robotic. That does not sound human. So how can we desensitize ourselves from rejection? Think about all the times that you've rejected someone. I'll give you my list. Number one, I feel like it's going too fast and I don't know what is happening and I'm getting scared. This was me in 9th grade. I started talking with this guy named Carlos. It is so funny if he actually sees this, because what? I was talking with this guy named Carlos and I really liked him, and I think he really liked me. And we were talking for like 2 weeks every single day. And out of nowhere, he told me that he loved me. And keep in mind, I'm 14 years old. I have never had something that intense with a guy before. And I was super confused. I didn't know what to do. I barely knew the guy. He was new, so I barely knew him. And I got super scared. And I remember the next day we had like a field trip. I was avoiding him. Not because I didn't like him and not because I didn't want to be with him. I just didn't know what to do in that situation. I have never had a guy tell me they loved me. I had never been I had never had a boyfriend. Like basically I was in a situation where I didn't know how to proceed, and that led me to like avoid him that whole day. And I got so scared about not knowing what to do that I just ended things with him. And you know what's funny? He only told me he loved me because he thought it was romantic, not because he actually meant it. Next, I'm not interested. I've had a lot of guys that approach me and I'm just not interested. I don't even know the guy. Okay, I'm just not interested. Why? I don't know. It's not like I'm going out of my way to not be interested. There's just no spark from my side. There is no moment where I think, oh, he must be a really bad person and that's why I'm not interested. There's no moment where I'm like, you can tell he has zero value and that's why I'm not interested. No, I'm just simply not interested. Next could be, I don't want what they're offering me. I've had moments where guys, they want something that's not serious, but I'm looking for something serious, so I just say no because they're not offering what I want. In the same way, I've had guys who are offering me something serious, but in the moment, I just don't want something serious, so I say no, just because that's not what I'm looking for. Another moment where I've rejected people is when I know I deserve better. And this is a great example of this situationship. This guy, he did something that I honestly feel if I had done this to him, I don't know if he would have forgiven me. But I saw his behavior and I thought I deserve better. So I removed myself from the situation. And it's so crazy because in a way, I do feel rejected by him. But if you tell me that he feels rejected by me, I would believe you. I immediately removed him from my social media. I never talked to him again. I left him unseen, you know? So there are moments where I like the guy and I really want it to work, but I just see that it's not what I deserve and I'm gonna say no. And it's not about this person, it's about me and knowing that I have a choice on what I receive and I don't want to receive that if it's not what I deserve. Okay. And then the last one, which I think it like fits with the other ones, is I just don't see myself with this person. There was this one guy who I really liked. Like I really, really liked him, but I went on a date with him and I just realized there's no way he's gonna be my boyfriend. Like, conversation is just not flowing. I am attracted to him physically, I'm just not there emotionally. I just don't feel like there's a connection. I just don't see myself being his girlfriend. But I really like the guy. But if he had asked me, do you want to be my girlfriend? I would have said no. Now, out of all of the things that I said, I want you to notice how I focused on myself and my perspective and what I wanted and what I was being offered. And I wasn't focusing on the other person's value. If I were to focus on someone else's value, my list would have sounded a little bit like, this person is going too fast, they don't know what they're doing, I don't want to be with them. This person is ugly. That sounded so mean. I would never say that. This person, I don't even want to keep going. I think that's just so mean. There's just no way that I've ever seen people through that inner dialogue. Like, I've always thought of those instances as it is not what is aligning with what I want right now in my life, and that is why I'm saying no. It's never about they are not worthy as a person, I don't want to be with them. I'm gonna take a wild assumption because at the end of the day, I have no guarantee of what this person is thinking, so I can only assume. So I am going to assume that this guy that I talked with sees rejection or rejects people the same way. I'm going to assume that he thinks this is not what I'm looking for. I am going to remove myself from the situation. If he was like, I honestly think if this guy that I talked with was genuinely a person who saw me and said, she's not pretty enough to be with me, I'm gonna leave her, there's no way that I would have built up a connection with him. I highly, highly, highly doubt it. There's no way that I could connect with someone like that, just because if that is how they view people, that is how they treat people. So I'm going to assume his rejection was not based on me. It was based on him and what he was looking for and what he wanted and what he didn't want. And that's the thing. There's a very big difference between saying I've been rejected and I'm rejected. And when you understand the difference, you're going to understand what people mean by rejection is redirection. I have always heard rejection is redirection. Always. Never understood it. And you know why? Because rejection always felt personal. Rejection always felt like an attack. Every time I got rejected, I felt like they were telling me, you're not good enough. You're not pretty enough. You should be doing more. Every time I got rejected, it was like they were slapping me, insulting me, telling me all the negative things that I heard in childhood. So I would listen to rejection is redirection, and it's redirecting you to what you are meant to experience in life and something way better. So I would question it, because if I feel so negative through the experience of being rejected, how come it's taking me to something better? Why is it redirecting me to something better if it feels so heavy in my heart? When you make rejection about yourself, rejection is personal. When you don't make it about yourself, rejection is redirection. Something that makes rejection feel like this huge responsibility is because we're not allowing ourselves to be rejected. We are not allowing ourselves to make mistakes. We're not allowing ourselves to not be the best version of ourselves always. You need to start allowing yourself to not look good in every single picture you take, not be accepted by every single person you talk to. You need to allow yourself to not be accepted by every single company that you apply for. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure on being accepted on everything and being perfect on everything and looking good on everything. That's a lot, and we're not perfect. You don't have what you need to maintain that kind of streak. Okay, let me walk you through it, okay? As I said, rejection is not personal. Rejection is made by someone's past experiences, trauma responses, as well as their preferences. So every person I start talking to, they're going to have their own past experiences, their own trauma, their own preferences. So you're telling me that I'm supposed to start talking with this guy who I know nothing about. I don't know how many girlfriends he has had. I don't know if he's looking for something serious. I don't know if he wants something casual. I don't know what this man wants. I just know that he's cute and I'm interested, and now I have the responsibility of having him accept me. So I'm walking towards this guy and I'm talking to this guy and I'm trying to make myself look as appealing as possible without knowing what he's judging me based on. Basically, you're supposed to play a game where you don't know the rules, but you're going to be judged as if you knew the rules. And every single move that you make has to be based on the rules that you know nothing of. So I'm supposed to make sure this guy likes me when I have no idea what he likes. You're setting yourself up for failure, because if you're not someone's dream girl, that means that in order for them to accept you, you need to mold yourself into what they want and you need to perform. Do you see where I'm getting at? On that same note, it would make sense that life is like that for everyone else, not only you. It wouldn't make sense for me to have this responsibility while everyone else has zero responsibility to be accepted or rejected, okay? If I wasn't allowed to reject anybody, that means that the first guy that walks into my life and wants to be my boyfriend, I have to tell him yes. If I like him, good for me. If I don't, sucks for me. But wait. Now, let's say another guy walks into my life and he tells me, I want to be your boyfriend. I'm not allowed to reject this guy. So I'm going to tell him, okay, you can be my boyfriend. Just know that I already have another boyfriend. Am I just going to be collecting boyfriends? Am I supposed to be collecting boyfriends? Because that would mean that you would be dating someone who has a lot of boyfriends. You would be dating someone who has a lot of girlfriends. No one wants that. When you're dating someone, you expect him to reject everyone who approaches him, meaning rejection is necessary. Rejection is not only necessary, but it's natural. It's natural for us to reject things that we don't like. It's natural for us to reject things that don't align with us. It's natural for us to reject things when we already have something and we don't have space for that. Rejection is natural. It's natural for us to be rejected the same way that we reject other things and other people. The more you become desensitized with rejection, the better. And I think this is why a lot of people do rejection therapy. Am I gonna push you to do rejection therapy? No, but at least contemplate the idea that rejection is not the end of the world. If it was the end of the world, it wouldn't be necessary, it wouldn't be natural, it wouldn't happen on a day-to-day basis. Every single day, someone asks someone else on a date and they get rejected. There's a lot of rejection in the world. It's not the end of the world keeps spinning. For my last thought for this episode, we also go through life expecting every single connection we build or every attempt of connection we have to become this relationship. So I expect every single guy I talk to for them to become my boyfriend. That's so not, like, that's not life. But let's keep going. every guy that I talk to, he's meant to be my boyfriend. So I feel like that is my responsibility. I need to make sure that every connection I have or attempt to have ends up in a relationship. So when it doesn't end up in a relationship, it just ends on a situationship, or it just ends with us talking for a few days, or it doesn't even start a conversation with the person. I already feel like I failed. I already feel like I did something wrong, that there's something wrong with me, because I was the reason why it didn't develop into a relationship. When in reality, maybe the purpose of that connection was not for them to be your boyfriend. Maybe the most that was going to happen and that was meant to happen was just a situationship. You were never meant to be this person's girlfriend or this person's boyfriend. You were never meant to be someone's wife, someone's husband. Everything happens exactly the way that it intended to happen. We just weren't aware. Just because we wanted it to be a relationship doesn't mean that it was supposed to be a relationship. Maybe that connection with that guy was just meant to last 3 weeks, and I was meant to experience everything that I experienced in those 3 weeks, and I was meant to think about it for the months after and record this video. Like, maybe that was the purpose of that situationship. Maybe that was a purpose for me to get in touch with my feelings, which I always do, but like bring up my feelings so I can work on them and I can heal. And that was the purpose of that situationship in my life, that lesson. Or maybe the purpose was just for me to have 3 really fun weeks. Like, the purpose for something can be so many different things and can be more than just one thing. And I just need you to trust that everything that is happening right now is meant to happen the way that it's happening. Every guy that it didn't work out with, it was meant to never work out with. Or in reality, it was meant to work exactly the way that it worked out. Even if that's not what you intended, it was exactly to work out that way. So when something doesn't work out and we get rejected, it's like, did I really get rejected from that company, or was it never intended for me to get that job? Because if that was the plan all along for me to not get that job, it wasn't really a rejection, it was just following the plan. And that's life. That's where redirection happens. It is not rejection, it is redirection. This didn't develop into what you were expecting because it was supposed to bring you into this other part of your life and into this different version of yourself. And that's when whatever you wanted will actually develop with someone else. That's redirection. That's why rejection is not really rejection. That was never meant to be yours. That guy was never meant to be your boyfriend. That guy was meant to be an experience. You were meant to be an experience for him as well. But that guy was meant to be an experience for you to work on yourself and get in tune with your emotions, or realize, hey, I need to heal, or just have a lot of fun and get to know yourself in a different version. So technically, we are never rejected. We are only redirected because it's never personal. Mind blown. I really hope everything I said made sense, because if it doesn't, I don't even know how to rephrase it. I think everything just flowed the way that it had to flow. Quick summary. Think about how ridiculous the idea of someone holding you and scanning to see your value and deciding whether to reject you or accept you based on that is. Like, that's insane. Nobody goes through life assessing someone's value. Second, make a list of all of the times that you have rejected things, people, experiences, and see how that is all about you and nothing about them. And then contemplate the idea of how when people reject you, it's all about them and nothing about you. Find the difference between I've been rejected and I'm rejected. How are you making rejection personal? Do you actually resonate with rejection is redirection? Or do you resonate with I'm rejected? Allow yourself to be rejected. Allow yourself to not be perfect. Allow yourself to not be the first choice. Allow yourself to just be yourself and stop giving yourself that responsibility of always. Understand that everything is working out exactly the way that it's meant to work out. Meaning that if something does not develop into a relationship, it's because it was never meant to be a relationship. It was just meant to be an experience for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to have fun, for you to teach others, for you to walk your next steps. That being said, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you liked it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all of the episodes that I have. If you think I'm cute, or you think my makeup looks cute, or you think that I do have cuter makeup looks, make sure to check out all my makeup tutorials, because I promise you I do look cute. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. That I look like a chipmunk. What?